relatively good conditions Sunday morning. And as it turned out, over 100 athletes would experience the big hurt in more ways than one. Around 45 mountain bikers lined up for the first 12-mile leg of the race. Mary lined up next to Debbie Ross of the Peninsula Daily News team, and I guess they must shop at the same place. The riders felt the sting early on as they had the daunting task of starting out on the pretty steep grade that leads up to the top of the Foothills Trail. Up and over the hill in first was Mitch McDougall, who came screaming towards Mount Angeles Road. He'd end up with the best mountain bike time, 43 minutes, 43 seconds. That's over a minute ahead of his brother Mike, who sat in second heading into the run. A couple of minutes back was road racer Jordan Siemens and Steve Ward of Twisp, and they'd have to make up some time. At the transition area, the racers arrived a bit muddy as they rode in to hand off to their teammates or get laced up for the 10-kilometer run for themselves. Mary came in and looking a little ragged as she handed off to our runner Scott Beckwith. She met the mud and drew a little blood along the way. And as you know, if you're not bleeding, you're not going fast enough. Good job, Mary. And it was also time for me to hand off the camera so I could get warmed up for the bike leg as Beckwith was out on the course. Ward did his best to make up some time on the run. He was first onto the road bicycle for the 40-mile stage. The standings would change a bit as Mike McDougall and Dave Lasorsa came in for the transition. And it was time to find their gear, jump on the bikes, and head for Crescent Beach. Scott ran in for about the 13th best time of the day, and he did a great job making up some time for us. He handed off to me, and I had quite an interesting ride. I passed around 5 people as I was heading towards Crescent Beach, but then on Camp Hayden Road I had a flat, and I was passed by them as I waited for help. And then, after about 15 minutes, I changed the flat. I passed them again on the way back, and I handed off to Dennis, who was ready for the 1.5-mile canoe leg. And the conditions were good for Dennis. Not much wind. We would end up in 5th place overall in the Recreational Open Division, with a time of 4:52.39. Tom Purvian's had bad luck on the road course as well, and he'd have to finish with a flat. McDougall wasn't so lucky. That's Mitch McDougall. Get those McDougalls mixed up. He wasn't able to fix his flat tire, however, and he didn't finish the race. Finishing ahead of everyone was Steve Ward in a time of 3:43.37. He won the Ironman 30 to 39 age division. He was followed by Dave Lasorsa from the 40 to 49 division and Jordan Siemens from the 17 to 29 age division. Kate Shefflow, by the way, was the top Ironwoman. Linda Linscott was second. Ward said he enjoyed the race.
I had a good time. I suffered a lot. It was the big hurt. It lived up to its billing. I got my money's worth. Plenty of pain. It was good.
What do you think was the toughest part of the
toughest part? The toughest part for me was the road ride. It was a tough ride. Yeah. That was probably the longest 35 miles of my life. Yeah, it was fun though.
Well, there's a ton of divisions and results, but here's a few of them, and they're a little confusing, but I'll try to work through them. In the team competition, the team led by Shane Baker led the way for the Rec Master Division. The Port Angeles Police Department took home the win in the Recreation Corporation Division. The Purvian's family won the Rec Family Division. Chris Duff's team won the Rec Open Division. One of the youngest racers, Colby Siemens, who's 14, he ended up in 4th overall in the Ironman 17 to 29 age division. Not too shabby, as his brother would say. And the Iron Grandmaster winner was Douglas Gio at the time of 4:59.20.